I believe that pigs can fly. And if you disagree with me, you're a racist bigot and a homophobe, and you can't work at my company. And to combat that, I'm going to make you sit through a mandatory training on why I believe pigs can fly. That's today's threat assessment, the mandatory fun that many of these places force you to attend to stay employed for DEI reasons. Specifically in Arizona, a state university professor of more than 20 years is now suing the university over what he believes to be a racist mandatory DEI training for faculty. Dr. Owens is a professor of philosophy, religious studies, and theology, and he's claiming that the school is in violation of a 2-year-old state law that forbids public agencies from requiring employees to engage in training that presents any form of blame or judgment on the basis of race, ethnicity, or sex. That professor joins me now. Dr. Owen, tell me about how this whole thing came about and what's been going on so far.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on the show to talk about this, because DEI has really become a national conversation that we're talking about. And for me, it began 2 years ago when I received an email saying I needed to complete required DEI training and that I was given a due date. And when that due date passed, I was reminded, hey, this is overdue. And so when I looked into the training, I saw that this isn't just and this isn't just simple inclusion. Right? So a lot of universities will tell you this is just about learning how to be inclusive of many different backgrounds. When you look into the content, that's not what this is about. Right. It divides people up based on their race, and then it assigns blame for things that people did in the past to people living in the present because they have the same skin color. And that's what I understand to be racism.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. But this is the problem. This is a state law, 41-1495. It states, quote, this state and the state agency or city, town, county, or political subdivision of a state may not require an employee to engage in training, orientation, or therapy that presents any form of blame or judgment on the basis of race, ethnicity, sex, and that they may not use public monies for training. What is your lawsuit alleging here, sir?
Well, the Goldwater Institute is bringing this, and if your audience goes to their website, they can look at the entire complaint, because what they did was they included 173 pages of this material for people to read through for themselves, because whenever I bring this up to people, it's way worse than they thought it was. Let me give you a couple examples of the kinds of topics. You'll be learning about how white supremacy is normalized in our society. You'll be learning about white fragility. You'll be learning about how to explain white privilege to a broke white person. You'll learn 7 ways white people can combat their privilege. And so it's all nested in this idea of privilege and bias. And the idea is that if you have a certain skin color, then you have a privilege and also an unconscious bias. You're not even aware of how racist you are. And that's why I objected to this kind of training. I said, no, that's just not right. I'm not going to do that.
I am struggling. Look, sir, I grew up working, at a tree service, then on a barge, then I went in the military for 10 years, and then I owned my own tree service, and now I'm still a farmer, gentleman farmer, obviously. I do this for my day job, but, what the heck is white privilege? Or do you not know because you didn't attend the course?
Well, just from reading over the material, you can learn that just in virtue of having a certain skin color, any privileges in society are attributed to you, and it's not fair. And so therefore, because the things you listed, you might start to think that you've worked hard, and because you've worked hard and made good choices, you've had good outcomes. And that's also structural racism. Oh. Anything called a meritocracy is a complete illusion. There is no such thing.
Oh, and we should be held accountable for our ancestors. This is the other thing, too. I'm sure that, slavery was brought up in this whole thing. Yes, America, you can't look at the individual vacuum things. Some bad things were done in America, but can we not look at the fact that we were the first country to fight a war to end it?
Well, that's right. The thing is that if we're basing things on skin color, the abolitionists, many of them also had white skin, and they were fighting to end slavery. An entire war was fought where people laid down their life to say slavery is wrong. So this part of the problem with DEI is it's very reductionistic and it's very simplistic. It has a very simple view of history, which is false. Right. And as someone who teaches intellectual history, that's another reason why I can't participate in this. This is just bad history.
Right. Well, sir, you're far more articulate than I am. I just call it stupid. But Dr. Owen, appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
All right. Coming up, Israel taking out an Iranian military commander.